Selwyn. I am the missing student. I'm going to read Dark Wimpy Kid, the double down from page 21 to page 26. Recently, Mom told me it's just got Nana who's watching over me. It's all my relatives who've passed away. I kind of wish she didn't. I wish she hadn't told me that because now when I copy off Andrew's paper during a spelling test, I feel a lot more guilty about it. I want to know how many generations this thing goes back. I'm fine with a few hundreds years or so, but if that's my whole family tree, all the way to the beginning, that's a total different story. I mean, if I've got relatives from caveman times watching over those guys are probably gonna be pretty confused by what I do on an average day. To be honest, I'm not comfortable with all these people looking over my shoulders. If my relatives are really watching me every time I step out of the shower or taste my earwax, it's gonna be pretty awkward when we reunite later on Thursday. We have the book fair at school this week, and this morning Mom gave me $20 to spend. I thought I was allowed to pick whatever I wanted, but it turns out Mom expected me to spend the money on books. When you get the chance to own a giant pencil with googly eyes, though, it's kind of hard to pass up. Besides the pencil, I got a poster with a cat saying something sarcastic, an eraser shaped like a panda, a calculator that glows in the dark, a pen that writes underwater, and another giant pencil with googly eyes just in case the first one gets lost or stolen. I thought there was a chance Mom might not be happy with the way I spent her money, so I made sure I also buy a yo-yo with a good message on it. But Mom wasn't impressed. She says I have to go back tomorrow and trade in all the stuff I bought for the books. Mom says the brain is like a muscle, and if you don't exercise it by reading and doing creative stuff, I will get weak and mushy. She says video games and TV are making my brain flabby, and if something doesn't change, I'm basically gonna be a mindless zombie for the rest of my life. Mom said if I turned off the television and put down my game controller, I might discover a talent I never know I had. That's a nice idea and all, but I feel like every time Mom tries to get me to step out of my comfort zone, I've fallen flat on my face. In the 3rd grade, we had a poetry unit in school, and when I showed her what I was working on, Mom was pretty impressed. She sent one of my poems off to the National Poetry Council to see if they thought it was any good. 2 weeks later, we got a letter back in the mail. Mom was really excited about the news, and I admit I was too. I kind of got into the idea of being a poet and even started to dress differently at school. But it turns out the whole poetry and the thing was a big joke. First of all, the book was about 1,000 pages long, and all the poems were in really tiny print. It took me a half hour to find my poem in there, and they spelled my name wrong anyway. I read a few of the other poems, and they were awful. Most of them seemed like they were written by 5-year-olds. I was pretty obvious that anyone could have their poem included in this book, and the whole nation's best work thing was just a bunch of baloney. I guess the way the nation poetry Council makes money is by selling the books to all the suckers who get published in it. What I knew for sure is the Poetry Council made a lot of money of us. Mum bought 10 copies to hand out to relatives, and the books were $80 a pop. Plus, she thought a few extra copies for me in case I wanted to give them to my kids one day. The nation's Poetry Council kept sending us letters and calling, asking us to buy more books, and I think after a while Mom finally realized it was all just a giant scam. My copies of Poetry Anthologue are in the laundry room, but at least they're being put to good use. Once Mum got it in her head that I was special, she wouldn't let it go. She even tried to get me into the talent and gifted program at school, in my elementary school. All the really smart kids were in the talent and gifted program, but I guess the teacher didn't want us regular kids to feel bad about ourselves. So when they called the talent and gifted group out of class for their meeting, they used a code name. Mr. Halifa was our janitor, and for a long time I thought the kids in Mr. Halifa's helpers were just volunteers who wanted to give him a hand emptying the trash and stuff like that. Then I finally realized that Mr. Halifa's helpers were all the brainiest kids in our grade. Mum thought I belonged in the talent and gifted, so she tried to convince the school to let me in, but I had to take a test to prove I was smart enough. I don't remember everything on the test, but I do remember one of the questions. Fill in the blanks. Johnny is the best at math. Johnny is the best at swimming. Johnny is the best at reading. Johnny is... Oh, bye.